How's it going? Strife here, and today we're going to do the walkthrough for Cliffside Fractal. So Cliffside, overall it's one of the longer fractals. A large portion of that length is due to fighting this boss twice, once at the beginning and then once at the end. For the first fight, his moveset's pretty much the same the entire fight. He is going to do his channel move right here, which creates red circles everywhere. You have about a second to get out of them before they activate. This is his agony attack, and it'll also put a bunch of conditions on you. Besides that, you saw there he does a spin move. The spin move, it shoots out 6 bolts, which put confusion and do quite a bit of damage to you. You saw feedback reflected it for about 8k damage per bolt. So it's good to have feedback if you are on your Mesmer. Besides that, he has a hammer auto attack, a hammer leap attack, kind of like the great sword hammer skill. And then when he gets to 50%, he'll also do a long wind-up hammer attack. This also has agony linked to it, so that move right there, you saw my teammate got hit and had agony put on him. So those are the main moves that you do want to watch out for. You can burst into melee and then switch back to range. Usually I'll burst into melee when he's doing his channeling move. That's obviously the easiest part to hit him at, as long as you make sure to dodge out of the circles. And then a lot of times I'll swap to ranged when I need to. So as you can see, my party there was just standing in the red circles and they had quite a bit of conditions on them. With 2 guardians, the guardians can swap out to pure voice trait, which will pretty much take care of most of those conditions. So if you do have a lot of condition removal and you have a lot of agony resist at 30, it's not as big a deal. Personally on my Mesmer right now, I still only have 25 resist, so the agony is still going to hurt quite a bit. But as you saw, once we killed that boss, he drops a hammer, and the next part of this fractal is pretty much carrying the hammer from event to event. You can only hold it for 40 seconds, so you see the person or the warrior who has it right now has that green boon icon, which is ticking up. It's at 35, 36. Once it gets to 40, you get insta-down, so you want to drop the hammer at like 39 seconds. When it hits 30, you also get stunned. You can either use a stun breaker, you can have stability on you, or you can use the number 3 skill on the hammer to actually negate that stun. So usually we'll just try to hold it up until close to 40 seconds. So this first event's pretty easy. You just want to kill these novices to get a hammer charge. And then you use the number 4 skill on the hammer, which appears after you kill a novice, to hit the seal. So those are the first 2 seals. Each one takes 2 hits. Now while someone is hammering, you want to stop killing the mobs. The whole purpose of killing the mobs here is to get hammer charges. So you'll see there's 4 distinct groups. So if you do it correctly, you can hit all 4 seals without waiting for the next group to spawn. So that event overall is pretty quick. Then again, we're just going to go up another pathway to the next event where we have to break the chest seal, I guess, next. So for this part, there's going to be these gargoyle heads which blow out wind. If you get hit by the wind, they knock you off. You saw there I could dodge through it and you get the evade frame. Also, you noticed I have stability on right now, and I actually used my signet, so we gave double duration to my group. So up here is a good example of what not to do. One of our guardians actually held onto the hammer for 40 seconds. And not only did they get down, but they got down in front of a gargoyle head, which caused another party member to get knocked off trying to res them. Luckily, they only got knocked off to the lower platform and not fully down, which causes you to be in the down state. So we're not going to lose too much time here. But that is something you want to be mindful of. Make sure, if you have the hammer, to look at your debuff timer to make sure you drop that hammer before you hit 40 seconds. You could even do it anywhere between like 35 and 39 once you get to a safe spot. Alright, so up here at the chest seal, I'm just going to wait a second for our group to get up here. And then I'll actually pick up this hammer and we're going to go straight to the middle. You'll see there's this little location between these 2 fire fields here that is a safe spot where you can both stand, kill the novices, and hit the seal without ever moving. Now at higher level fractals, or if you're in a group that maybe has not a lot of cleave DPS and no reflex or defensive boons, you can see at the top of my screen, the top right, there's that little like pyre burning thing with the stone structure. There is one of those on the left side as well. You can actually go and stand behind it and LOS this first group. This first group is mainly veteran mobs, whereas the respawns that happen are mainly novice, just normal mobs. So if you do need to kill the big group of veterans first, you can kind of pull them and kill the veterans on either side and then move to this middle spot. So that'll help you with your, I guess, the damage you're taking and how long it's taking you to kill the veterans. But I would say once you kill those veterans, it's usually pretty safe overall to stand in this middle area. At least the groups that I've been in. So we'll just get your charges, whoever has the hammer. Like you can see, I have it right now. Just stand here and hit the seal. And this event should go by pretty quickly. Sometimes, as you can see, these arrow type novices, they'll stand in the back. If you do have like a focus pull or Guardian Greatsword pull, that can help get them towards you as well. So we're just going to finish that event, and then we're going to have one last seal event. You can see the left and right seal for the arm seals in the top right. Before that, we're going to run up another platform. This one doesn't have any traps. It's mainly just not falling off because some of the platforms are pretty narrow. So you can see sometimes you can actually blink through the floor as well on Mesmer. That one didn't work, but you could use that, especially in the first section, that first run. It's pretty easy to blink up through the floor. And don't be afraid to kind of take it slow if you're not as good at jumping. Just make sure you don't fall off. Alright, so you see me equipping Portal here. Portal actually makes this event really easy. So I'll go over the way we do it and then the way you can do it without a Mesmer. So for reference, this is the left seal. The other side is the right seal. So what you want to do, you want to kill that one chanter and then hit the left seal, which will make it become invulnerable, forcing you to go to the right seal. At the right seal, again, you want to kill only one chanter, and if you are doing it without a Mesmer, you want to make sure the other chanter on this right seal side never dies until the very end. So see, at this point, I'll put the exit portal down. When we go back to this left seal, we're going to kill the other chanter. When we kill the other chanter, it's going to spawn a big group of chanters that continually respawns until the seal dies. Through this whole section, you don't want the Mesmer to carry the hammer at all yet because you want them to have a clean, I guess, timer on their hammer. After that hit, you can group these chanters up, drop the hammer for the Mesmer, and get the charge for the Mesmer. At this point, you'll see I'll portal to the right seal. I'll hit it. I'll go back to the left seal, and your group wants to try and leave one of these chanters low health so you can get a charge really quickly. Now, we didn't get back into the portal there. If you do it fast enough, if that chanter was like right next to the portal when I came out and we pretty much instantly killed it, you can hit that seal and have the full group go into the portal back to this right side. Even if you don't do that, obviously it's still pretty fast. It's only an extra 15 seconds or so, and you can finish this whole event very quickly. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't have a Mesmer, what you want to do is back on that left seal side. Once the big group spawns, you want to LOS it into the hallway. Just keep pulling that big group into the hallway. You want to kill it, and then obviously get the hammer charges, and whoever has the hammer can run solo back to the right side to hit the seal. They just need to make sure that obviously the debuff timer will give them enough time to run to the seal and then come back to the group and swap hammers. So if you don't have portal, that's what you usually do. And just make sure you always leave one chanter up on the right side, because when you have a big group like that, the big group that spawns, it'll continually heal the seal and it'll make it a lot harder and a lot longer if you don't do that. I have an older Fractal video that actually shows that. It was way back when Fractals first came out and the commentary is not as good, but it'll give you an idea of how to do that. So here we are at the final boss. So the final boss, his first 25%, he's going to have the same move as before, minus the spin move with the projectiles. So you saw I put on null field since you won't need any projectile reflection. Now, every 25% for this boss, he's going to go invulnerable and drop his hammer. When he does that, 4 chanters are going to spawn. You just need to kill the chanters to get the hammer charge and hit the middle seal, which will take off 25% of the seal health as well. So we'll do that here. This first 25% will go pretty fast since I use time warp, and you can melee a bit more. Obviously, again, try and stay out of those red circles because you see my group took a bunch of damage by standing in them, a bunch of conditions. So you saw there, the boss is invulnerable right now. You can kill these channers for charges. Once you hit the seal, the boss will become invulnerable and you will get stunned. So at this point, you just want to try and finish off the channers so you're not taking extra damage while you're fighting the boss. Sometimes you can wait to hit the seal until you have the channers dead, but if you wait too long, fanatics, a different type of mob, are going to spawn, so you don't want to wait too long. Usually we'll kill like 2 channers and then hit the seal and then pull the other 2 together and kill those 2, kind of like what we just did right there. So for his next 50% health, he has a similar moveset again. He's still going to do the red circles and the melee attacks. It'll change up for his last 50%, so I'll get to that in a second. But again, just stay out of the red circles, burst in melee when you can burst in. And if someone gets down, just make sure you get them up. Now there is one thing, obviously I'm not showing it in this video in case they ever fix it, which will make this video outdated, but if you all melee stack on the boss right now while someone swings the hammer, he'll actually bug the boss and you can just melee him and he won't come out of his stun phase for quite a while. So that part actually makes this boss pretty easy if you're not doing a video run, I guess. So you saw here, he switched his moveset up at his next 50%. One, he does the hammer charge now that put agony on me when I got hit. He's also going to do a move, which you saw right there. He's going to Spectral Grasp, which is basically a pull move to 3 people, which will pull him towards you. After he does that, he gets a protection boon icon under his name, and then he casts a AoE agony attack, which is that big light field that you saw. So you want to make sure to dodge right when he gets his protection boon up under him. You can also max range him. You'll actually outrange his agony as well. So there's 2 options, either dodge or if you're at, I think it's maybe, if you're at 1200 range you won't get hit. Maybe if you're past 1000 range probably you won't get hit by that agony attack. You can also block it with like Aegis or Guardian, Focus Shield, or any type of block. So besides that, outside of his agony attack, he's going to spawn these little, I guess, devour type spirit mobs, which are just more of annoyance than anything. They die pretty quickly. And then he has some auto attacks which do pretty decent damage as well. So you just want to watch out, burst in when you can on melee again, swap out to ranged. And then the other thing is when he does have that protection boon on him after doing the agony attack, so you saw I got pulled in there, and then he did his protection boon, then the agony attack. While he has that protection boon on him, he actually reflects projectiles. So you can kill yourself. You want to obviously not use projectile type attacks. Like the great sword on my Mesmer, it's not a projectile, so it doesn't get reflected back, but like the number 2 skill or the 1 on my bar is a projectile, so that would get reflected back to me. If you're on warrior, your auto attack on your ranged weapon is going to get reflected back, so you just want to watch out for those things. So a lot of times after his agony attack is when I'll try and burst in and melee him. You'll usually need to just watch out for like 1 melee attack. So make sure you dodge that if you have dodge up. But besides that, his first 50% is pretty much the similar moveset to the first fight we fought him at the very start of this Fractal. And then the last 50% is he's going to switch up and use his AoE agony attack and spawn his little minions. Oh, and one other thing, he actually periodically will put someone in a cage for his last 50% of his health as well. So usually that's going to be the Guardians, since they do have aggro most of the time, since they have more toughness. But when you get put in the cage, you just want to do damage to the door to get out of it and back into the fight. I believe I get put into the cage once in this fight at the very end, so that'll be a good reference point as well. And then once you get his health down, again, he's going to drop his hammer. You're going to do the same thing, except this time you need to hit the seal twice, so you need to kill 2 of the channers. Just make sure you can do that at the very end because you don't want to do this fight all over again. So once we finish off this seal, you can just collect your loot from the chest, and that is it for the Cliffside Fractal. So thanks for watching.